Ashley Rose Nova. You can call me Ash. I'm with TWM News, home of, well, we were the wrestle movement. Now we are wrestling, pop culture, music, and a bunch of other things, including film. I'm here with Trent from HEMI. Trent, how's it going?
Good, Ash. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Now, Trent, I wanted to ask you here, because we cover a lot of Impact. I cover Impact Wrestling. I happen to know through the grapevine, and also you, that HEMI once did the music for Impact.
Twice did the music for Impact.
Oh,
Actually,
excuse
yeah,
me.
twice. We did the music for Rebellion 2019 and then Bound for Glory 2019. So our song Decay, clearly inspired, obviously, was the song for Rebellion 2019, which was Morrison and or Johnny Impact and Brian Cage. And then the Bound for Glory 2019, which was Callahan, Cage. We did our song called Avalon Averted, the Fixer remix. That was the instrumental for the trailer for that. So yeah, super exciting. Behind me are the contracts on my wall from like when we signed with them. It was a big deal for me because it was like nearly 20 years in the making for me to get that. Always wanted that to happen. And it all lined up. It was super trippy to just be watching Impact on TV. And not only like did we see it play, but then like when it came for Bound for Glory, we played the was the Prelude to Glory, no, the All Glory event the night before. It was a pre-party, and we played it. We actually played the Impact Party, so it was a trip to have Josh Matthews and Don Callis plugging my band, showing our logo, plugging the band on Impact TV. They're like, they're gonna be playing tomorrow, and Don Callis like, oh, I love that rock and roll, and I was like, that's what a trip, man. It was so cool. So definitely really awesome to get that. The song Decay, though, if you type in HEMI Decay, it's on Spotify. On Spotify, the cool trick is because there's like a DJ named HEMI too. If you just type us in all caps on Spotify, just HEMI in capitals, we come right up. Cool thing is with that song, I work in the words crazy for Crazy Steve, and then abyss for abyss. And for Rosemary, I work in roses, the word roses and Mary, like all into one sentence. I actually work them all into the song. So it's really cool. It's kind of a little bit of an Easter egg in the whole thing, which I just revealed. So now you know what the Easter egg is. If you could find it, it's pretty cool. It's a big shout to the Impact fans because like they helped make those two songs. It's really crazy because Impact, obviously the smaller brand, but even on that smaller brand, you see the power of that media and the power of the fan support. Like those two songs blew up for us after we got them on Impact, like stream counts, sales. It was really cool. And so it's like, it shows you, like, I can only imagine when people license stuff to like the NFL or the NBA, like what happens, but like even on that scale, it was so awesome to see the songs blow up and like become a thing. So I was really, really proud of that.
Now, Trent, how long has HEMI been together? For the audience that does not know, who may be discovering you for the first time. I know you do some kick-ass shows. I see y'all out there. Y'all are touring again or playing again.
Yep. So, this is going to be year 20 in June. In June of this year, it was going to be the 20th year of the band. And lineup changes, a bunch of lineup changes, but me and my drummer have been consistent from day one. I got two amazing guitarists now who are just incredible. Like they're more into like newer stuff. Me and my drummer are more into like older stuff. So it's a great blend of like it's a good like fusion of styles. So you get a lot of like influence of Born of Osiris, Between the Buried and Me, Dream Theater, Revocation from those guys. Then from me and my drummer, you'll start getting stuff of like the Metallica, the Megadeth, the Iron Maiden, that kind of stuff is where, so like we kind of ground each other in this weird way, but it's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun to work together and like push each other in these different directions. But this is year 20. I'm planning on doing like a big party for like everybody, like all the former members. I was only one that I haven't talked to in many years, but he still lives locally. So I'm hoping to get in touch with him and get him out for this. One guy lives in Michigan. He'll definitely drive in. Another guy's in Puerto Rico, but he said he just came here, but he said he'll fly in for it. So I will absolutely try to do a big bash. And I was thinking like going all out. rent a room at a restaurant, have a photographer roaming, take pictures, little videography. Like I want to document this. This is a big deal for me. So I'm gonna get that down.
So, you've mentioned, that your drummer's into, some Metallica, your current guitarist, they're into, some newer stuff.
Yeah.
What is it that inspired HEMI originally in the beginning? What was the type
Honestly,
of music? What were you looking for? What type of sound were you interested in, or what you were trying to accomplish?
the original lineup was more into like 70s hard rock metal. Like we were really like Sabbath, Deep Purple, definitely I mean, you can never deny Metallica and like the influence they have on anybody who's in metal, but Priest, really into that kind of like the early demos were just like a weird mix of like this very like the way Sabbath kind of did their thing where they were basically like a hard blues band and then they went into like this metal fusion. That's kind of what we did too. We were in that same kind of vein where we were like, you had that bluesy root with like this hard rock that like, Purple and Zeppelin were kind of bringing into the fold earlier at that point. So we were kind of doing the same thing. And then we shifted after lineup one, we cut a demo with that one. Then we did our first album in '07, and that one was way more metal, very classic-y metal influence. And it's '07, so it's still kind of early. But then we took a really big shift in like recording sound in 2014 with our Undivided Intentions album, and then like our Avalon album in 2018 was like complete departure. Like you wouldn't think it's the same band, but we just went a whole different. But that's what the new guy, like that's with our new influence, our new guitar and everything. So there was a lot more creativity, and a lot more of that new sound that just really started creeping in. So it's the band's always evolved, and that's always been the thing I've been most proud of. That we always had this weird evolution. Like if you listen to the first demo to now, it's not the same band, which I like. Which I like.
I think, evolving, especially as a band, if you take a look at like, the longest running bands, like let's
Yeah.
say, let's put out there, we'll talk about like, bands like maybe like AFI,
Mm-hmm.
who constantly adapt and change their sound per album,
Yeah.
per year. I think it's important as far as, not only as an audience, but of course to attract newer listeners to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, being around for 20 years, you notice any differences in as far as, your listeners, people that attend your shows?
Yeah. So that's an interesting question because we noticed like, so our Undivided Intentions album had a lot of more of those influences, but there were some of the older, there were songs that were written in like, 2009, 10, and then they evolved. But I remember like, and that one was still kind of like our old fans still really liked it. But I remember in 2018 when we released Avalon, it was such a departure from everything that there was a drop off of like fans who liked the old sound. They were like, no, we like the old style you guys did. Like they were into that. They were into like the classic metal style. But subsequently we gained new fans, like the younger generation jumped on more because it was like, well, now you sound like, you know, Between the Buried and Me or like Born of Osiris and Darkest Hour, and you have those revocation like influences now and little that kind of stuff now. And it's like, oh, cool. So you're like this. So those fans are coming around. And like I said, it's not a total departure. You still have like the elements of other stuff, but it's like we were primarily an older genre influence, and now it's like here's this, and so those fans we had dropped off, but we gained other ones in the meantime, which I thought was it sucks to lose people, but you gain more, so it's a nice little trade off, and it's part of the. To me, I'm all about evolving. I don't like to get stuck in a certain sound, especially when you have really good musicians who join you and they're like they push you to be better and to change your way and kind of get out of your comfort zone. To me, that's the best that you can do. So why not like experiment more? It's like on the Avalon album, we had like keyboards and we had different sound effects and multiple tracks. And I think we layered a couple of guitars like 6 times. Like there's all sorts of weird experiments that went on. So like this up and coming one is going to be even more wacky because we're just trying to get even crazier. But to me, it's like if you're not changing, if you're not evolving, yeah, you could fall into a comfort zone and like please everybody, which is fine. But it's like this isn't my full time job. It's not like we're making $1 million. So why not at least have fun with it and leave something that's like just try. I mean, you could experiment with stuff, you know. And the cool thing about the studio is that you can always remix and change things around. So why not at least push yourself to try? You know, that's natural with any kind of art.
Now, as far as recording, does HEMI do their own recording, or do y'all actually have someone produce it and assist you with it as far as studio
We work
quality?
with an amazing guitar producer named AJ Kohler, and AJ is awesome. He's he's one of the best producers out there right now, and he's extremely he's great at hip hop and he's great at metal. Like those are his two focus genres. But he has such an amazing creative ear. Like he hears the stuff in between. And but the best part about AJ is he's a multi-instrumentalist. He knows how to play. He can like foresee what a sound is going to be and what it should sound like, and he can jump in and play it and fix something and be like, no, let's try this, let's orchestrate it this way. And he's very collaborative. To me, to any band out there, what I will say is like if you have a producer, don't just get like our first record was with a guy who just hit record and hit stop. Oh, you guys done? Cool. Stop. Hit record, stop. He didn't care. He wasn't trying to be a collaborator. And our first record, like I would kill to remix that record right now. And I have the master tapes, and I think on the 20th anniversary of it, like which will be 27, I think I will do a remix, like a remastered edition where I'll remix the whole fucking thing with AJ. But AJ is great because he's like he will sit there and he'll first he'll talk to us. He'll be like, what are you going for? Like he'll an hour of the time will be just like understanding the direction. What are we going for? What do we want to do? What are we trying to accomplish? What's this song about? Like he absorbs each song to understand what we're going for. So then when we're recording it, it's like start, stop, no, try this. Okay, let me show you this. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm envisioning. I mean, it's like I always say, like he's the fifth member of the band. Like AJ is a member of the band because that's what you want your producer to be. You want your producer to be somebody who's a part of your band because his name is on that record too. So you want them to be proud of what they put out. So like listen to your producer. Like you don't have to always go with it, but work with your producer. Like that's their job. That's what you hire them for. If you want somebody just to hit record and start and stop, like you can do that yourself. But if you get a producer who wants to help you bring the best out in your sound and be proud of their work, get a collaborative producer because that's what you want to have going. And then we've done 2 albums and a single, like a double, A and B side single with AJ. Like so far, and I did another EP with a different band that I play guitar with AJ too. So I've done a lot of work with AJ, and I think he's phenomenal. He's a great producer. It's so good at what he does. So it's worth the money to pay somebody who's going to do that for you. So look for a good producer.
So, I've how are the audience, how's the audience coming along? Because I do know you had another show. It looked like, everyone had a great time.
Oh, it was a blast. Yeah, it was such a blast. Crowds are back, which is great. We played out here in Chicago at the Burlington, and huge crowd. It was so cool. Totally full room. I mean, they went bananas. They were like moshing. People were carrying each other around their shoulders and like beer everywhere. I mean, it was wild, jumping off the stage. Like I was like, what is going on? Like it was so cool. But our set even got cut short by a song. We were like the second band or third band went long, screwed us. So, again, to be conscious of those kind of things, like it's just like be word to the bands. If you have this amount of time, don't go over because that fucks everybody else up. Okay, like that it screws everybody else's time up. And that goes in wrestling too. Like I work in wrestling. That screws. I mean, you go over your time, like it can bump a match. It can like ruin a match plan. Stick to your times. But crowds are amazing. Like we really had a blast. Sold a ton of merch. Just it was great to get back and just have have our fan just really touch base back with our touch back with our fan base like that again and regularly again. So we're not like at one time we played shows like every weekend we were on the road, but now we're a little more selective. Obviously, you get older, you have more commitments. So now our big thing is we post up, we play less shows but bigger ones, and we go out of state now and things like that. So more often, so it's become more valuable to us to like play less shows but bigger ones than it was like to be on the road every weekend. Because sometimes you'll be on the road, play a gig, and it's like it's you and the bartender, and it's like, what are we doing here? But you build up a little anticipation. People haven't seen you for a while. You get a bigger crowd that comes out, and that we've proven that formula and it really works. So we haven't played empty rooms, knock on wood, in a long time, which is really nice. So I'm really happy about that, and I'm really grateful to everybody who comes out because like we have a really supportive fan base who comes out and they buy merch and then they support, they listen. It's awesome to see that because you don't like I said, we're not Metallica, right? But in our own little world, we might as well be, right? Because people make you feel that good about yourself, and it's really awesome to get that love and support from folks. And like at our last show, a bunch of people from like wrestling showed up, and it was like that was cool, So it was cool to have a bunch of those people come out to the show and everything like that. So I'm really grateful to everybody, very very appreciative, and yeah, if you're in a band, make your fan base feel appreciated, and because they'll go to the ends of the earth for you if you make them feel loved. And like little things, like I give stickers out to everybody. Like I have a stack of HEMI designs that Juan of the Dead did. Juan of the Dead, who's done a ton of wrestling merchandise. Like I just got a new one for Impact. I think Juan just did this is the new Bullet Club one. He just did a new one for Impact. But Juan did our last like 5-6 designs, and it's awesome. So like I printed stickers and I just give those out to fans. I'm like, here, thank you for coming. Here's a set of stickers for coming out to the show. And people seem to love that. So make people feel important. Thank them for putting their time in. Something as little as a sticker can be valuable to them. I gotta see what shirt it is that Juan did now for Impact. He just released a new one. I know he did the latest Moose one. I think it's the Moose one that just came out.
Maybe they've had a lot of new merch come out recently.
They've had a lot of good. Oh, the new Trey one is his. The new Trey Miguel one.
The Trey Miguel one.
Yeah, with the eyes blind. That's his. I know that for sure. So that's pretty cool. Good for Juan. He's amazing. If you need any designs, guys, Juan of the Dead 209 on Twitter. Dude's the shit.
I've always stressed that community is important.
Absolutely.
I've stressed that in any interview, whether I talk to anyone from Impact or talk to anyone else in general. Community is always important. Now, that being said, do you have any interesting stories that you would like to share?
Well, like how like how explicit am I allowed to get? Like there's some funny ones. I mean, there's a bunch over 20 years. I'll tell one that's like really that always stands out to me for some reason. And so my drummer one time we were playing a gig and he did this like crazy, like he had this awesome part in the song and it was just like so wild. And I just like the song ended and I was like, give it up for Gup, I was like, give it up for him. And I was like, yeah. And then some dude in the back of the room just goes, wait a minute, that guy fucked my sister. And I was like, what? And I was like, what? He goes, that guy totally fucked my sister. And I was like, holy, and like this is getting yelled across the room. And I'm like, the 90s are really good to this dude, so the chances are he probably did fuck your sister.
The 90s were really good.
So then later on, I find the guy and we go, and I look at my drum rolls on stage. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, oh. And so like, we find the dude, and I'm like, did he really fuck your sister? He's like, dude, isn't your name this? And he's like, my sister is so and so. And he's like, and my drummer looks like a fuck. He's like, oh shit. And I'm like, you banging your fucking sister? He's like, dude, I totally fucked his sister. I was like years ago, like way, way long ago. I'm talking like 10 years, not 10, maybe.
They really know how to hold a grudge, huh?
Like 7 years prior, 7, 8. maybe even more, man. You know, like 7. No, it was like 10 years prior. 10 years prior. And he's like, yeah, I totally did. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, and I knew that. I kind of knew who that girl was. I was like, that's this dude's sister. You fuck. I'm like, you fuck. I didn't even know it has happened. It was just so wild. It was just like this dude in the middle of a set just yelled that out. I just thought it was hilarious. But that one always stands out to me. But we had some other ones, like another crazy one was this one's another favorite. I'll tell this one. We can move on after this. But I always love this one because it's really wild. But we were playing this Battle of the Bands one time, and it was 4 bands. It was like five bands. And this one band, the singer thought he was, I don't know what he thought. He just thought he was really fucking good. And he was kind of like, we played before him, and he was no, I think we played last. So he's kind of antagonizing us all night, like really just like fucking with us. Take little side comments because I think they didn't headline, so he was pissy. Like fucking just kind of taking little shots and like, you know, looking at us and making weird gestures from stage. I'm like, dude, what is with this guy? And at one point, so we're all sitting at this table by this like stages here. We're all sitting here. We're watching them play. And the dude's stage dives, but he stage dives into us. And my guitarist at that point, like, had it. Like, he's like, fuck. And he just starts beating on this dude, like, in the middle of their set. Like, they're playing, these two are brawling, and he kind of like, he's like, fuck you. And like, they kind of drags himself away, goes back on stage. I'm like, we all calm him down. And we calm our guy down. They go back, they finish their set. And yeah, so I'm trying to remember what the order of playing was. I forgot what. Anyway, all I know is, yeah, they couldn't load out. We all had to load out at the end of the night, right? So we're playing. So we play after. Again, he's fucking antagonizing us, like from the stage, and like my guitar is seething, right? So we finish our set. We know they're starting to load out immediately. We finish our set. We put our stuff down. We see them sneak out. We go out there, and my guitarist like, "What? You got some shit to say?" This is like the band, like the venue's here. All this shit's going on. We're in like the loadout spot. My guitarist like, "You got some shit to say?" And the guy's like, "No, no, no." He goes, "But yeah, I got some more." And the guy's like, "Yeah, I do." He's like, "Fuck you," and then that's it. It just starts, and both bands start fucking brawling in the parking lot, full on just brawling in this parking lot. And like the venue has no idea this is happening because we're outside in the back. And it might have been like quick, but we're just everybody's going at it. Lead singer against lead singer, guitars against guitars. And like it just gets ridiculous. And I remember my guitar player the dude had this long, very frilly scarf, and he like beat him down, and he took his scarf and they held it up like it was a title belt, and it's like, what are you gonna say now, motherfucker? And then they ran off. They got their shit, and they were loaded. They got their shit, and they just and then the bar people came out as a whole schmoz. We had to go back in to find out who actually won the Battle of the Bands. But I remember that scarf sat in my trunk for like 5 years afterwards, like that fucking big giant scarf. I remember thinking, like, what the hell just happened? We literally had a literal battle of the bands outside where we just started beating the fucking piss out of one another. It was so ridiculous. So ridiculous. But one of the best stories ever, because like it was 5 on 5, and we're just going at it. It was so stupid. It was awesome. So dumb.
Hey, at least you got a souvenir from that fight.
Dude, that thing was in and I wish I knew where it was right now, because I know like I put it somewhere. It might very well be at our like studio now, like in the loft, like just sitting in our little loft storage area. Because I know I would have kept it on for that reason, just on purpose. I would have kept that shit. But it was so ridiculous.
For random wrestling fan that's never been to any type of independent show or indie show or punk show or metal show, believe it or not, this is a normal occurrence.
Yeah, I mean back then it was a lot more. Like there was so many
not lately, but back then it was a lot.
There were so many shitheads at one time, that were in the scene, but like now, like they weed themselves out. That's the thing. The shitty people and shitty bands will weed themselves out from that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that bands like that are gone, because we really just roll with good people now. The bands we play with are fantastic people. They're awesome, and they're supportive as shit. That's what you want. Like, the scene cannot grow if the other bands don't even support it. If everybody's in like a pissing contest of like who's better. It's like, yeah, dude, we all have competitive edges, but like but you're not gonna level yourself. I was just talking, like, metal has the biggest gatekeeping bullshit ever. It's the biggest gatekeeping is in metal, but other genres don't. Like hip hop. The reason hip hop grows is at the rapid pace it does. Rap grows the best at the pace it does, and it's so successful. Like, all these little guys just like pop up and become stars because they support the shit out of one another. Collabs, guest appearances, opening spots. There's no gatekeeping in hip hop. They're so open about it. But like, metal will literally gatekeep. Oh, they're on Metallica, Stranger Things. Oh, fuck anybody who likes them because of that. It's like, dude, why? Who cares? They're listening to metal. Who gives a shit, But like, ego trips about that kind of stuff because Metallica was on Stranger Things, like, whatever.
Well, similar to the concept of like, how people. I remember distinctly. I think it might have been. Can't remember which exact magazine it was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was Metal Injection. It might have been someone else that they ended up asking the questions whether or not, how do you feel about people that don't listen to metal wearing metal shirts?
Yeah.
I personally, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if you wear, if you want to wear a fucking Metallica shirt, hey, by all means. If you want to wear a Black Sabbath shirt, by all means, hey, I still think it's pretty cool that you're fucking wearing one, even if you've never even heard an album. I'm not going to sit here and judge you based off of your decision on wearing a shirt.
Yeah.
Along similar lines. Now, so when's Sammy Callahan coming back to the band?
Well, I purposely wore his shirt today because he is the lead singer of the band, technically, right? But and you have interviewed him and you've talked to him about this, and I know he's mentioned it, that it is his band first and foremost. So I love me some Sammy Callahan, even though he has no hair now, even though he shaved his head. But I love Sammy Callahan, and the plan is, if we can align schedules, I do want Sammy to do some kind of guest vocal on this coming album. So I need him to be on it, even if it's in the smallest capacity. I just want Sammy to be credited on the album because I love Sammy Callahan. He's a friend of mine. I mean, he's worn a HEMI hat on Impact Wrestling. And I was a Sammy mark, and I've gotten to produce Sammy at AAW, and just to see him grow. To me, Sammy Callahan's is one of the best of my generation, and I absolutely love him to death. And I just want him to be on this record so bad. Honestly, even if it is like a scream, and I can just record it and patch him in. I don't care. I want Sammy Callahan on this record, no doubt. So hopefully soon, long story short, hopefully soon enough, we'll incorporate him in.
I mean, I've interviewed Sammy. I love Sammy. Sammy's
He's the best. He's
great.
The best.
I love Jessica too. I think she's a phenomenal content creator. And as far as,
yeah, she's cool. You know what could thing with Jessica too is she gets as far as social media goes, like you mentioned content creation, she totally gets the concept of interaction. She will leave comments, she'll tweet. Like, Jessica she's interactive. It's what you want in somebody who's interactive, and you are a fan of theirs. They're interactive. Like, she gets it. I love that about Jessica, that she's very interactive with people. So and she's super sweet, total sweetheart too.
Yeah, I absolutely love Jessica too. I love Sammy.
Sick
because she's sick.
She's sick.
Like, by far the best like change that's happened. I loved when she was Havoc, but this is like something completely opposite. Oh
my god, it's nuts.
It's nuts. It's great. It's crazy. It's fun. Yeah. You could tell she's having a great time. All of them are having a great time. That's she's with Ty and Rosemary, so like you could tell that they're really having a great time. They have great chemistry.
Yeah, I like that. I like the fun that they have, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see them find this space. I think Jess just having fun. Like she's having a great time. I mean, I love them. Sammy and Jess are just a great couple. Sammy Callahan, I can't even emphasize enough to people like how much he's helped a lot of people, grow their careers and stuff. Like the dude's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed that like I know the guy. Like I really do feel fortunate to know the guy and like work with him. And if you've ever worked with him, he's a good dude. He's a
Yeah.
really good dude.
And like to this day, I have like interviews I remember. That's one of the ones I remember that I left, and I'm like, I don't know what happened, but we just had a great time.
Yeah.
It was one of the best interviews I've had. Um, but absolutely love Sammy. I love Jess. Shout out to them both. And I have always just and I've told this to Jessica before. I've admired their confidence in
Yes.
themselves. Absolutely, just it's inspiring to me. Just you know, being comfortable with who I am in
Hmm.
general.
I know Sammy was rattled a little bit after the ankle, but he's getting it back, like I like that he pushes himself in other directions and like with like the current story with the design everything, and he's no qualms about shaving his head, like trying something new.
Yeah,
um he's always done these, like he's an evolving character, and going back to evolving, like talk about music,
yeah,
he's evolving, he always evolves the Sammy Callahan character. Death Machine, ICU, like it just there's always something about him, the hardcore stuff, the stuff with Musa. He feuds with everybody, like I love that about Sammy. So I'd be very, very grateful we can get him, if we can pull off this whole thing with him on the record. So plenty of time. We're still writing it anyway, so I'll find a spot for sure.
yeah. Um, Now before we close, you want to share any thoughts? You want to plug anything? I also know you're in an additional band too.
Yeah, I'm in a band called Toxic Rocket. It's a punky Ramones type of band. That one's going to be recording in March. It's really, really fun. I played just guitar in that one, some of my closest friends, and it took on life of its own. There's an EP out and 3 singles with previous bassists. So now we have a different bassist, and we're going to record the full length. And that's Toxic Rocket. So you look up Toxic Rocket. So please do check that out. And then HEMI, HEMImusic.com. All the links are there, but you type in HEMI in all caps. I think Apple Music, Spotify, it all comes up. You'll see the photo. It's like you'll see me and the guys in there. But yeah, check it out. The Avalon's the latest album. It came out a few years ago. We lost a few years of touring because of COVID. It really got in the middle of that, but we pushed it
That's
really well.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it did very well internationally. Like we released it in 2018, and it went very well. Like it did awesome in Greece and the Netherlands and Russia. Like it was big in Europe. Like it really got received well. Sold a lot of records. It was really cool. So I'm very grateful to the European fans for that one, because we got like reviews from all these international sites, Germany and Switzerland. It was really crazy to see that. Very, very cool. So Avalon's latest album, new album's being written right now. And I'm super psyched. We got a bunch of new merch. It's our merch is all through below the collar, our t-shirts, which is owned by Pro Wrestling Tees. So if you just go to hemimusic.com and merch, and it'll link you right there. But we have all these designs by One of the Dead, and then we got a bunch of other stuff like keychains and all that kind of stuff too. So tons of merch. Stream it, add it to your Spotify's if you have it. Literally, seriously, like there's no effort. Any band, not just us, any band like independent that or you see, just literally give them a play. Like if you go to Spotify, just like give them a play. It does wonders for their numbers. Bandcamp, we're on all that stuff. So like all our links are at the website. But like just giving them a play, hit follow. You don't understand how far these little efforts go. Liking their page, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just like it literally is one click, and you can support. Like it goes so far for independent bands. Like it means the world when you see people like your photo and like your stuff and follow you. Like it means something. Like you struggle for that. So as an independent band, like you strive to get those. You work hard to get that like and to get that follow. I mean, you see, like I'll look at like Metallica. I'll keep using Metallica because they're like this, they're like the baseline of metal bands. But like Metallica puts up a photo. They have, they have 20 million followers on Instagram, for example. And like average picture has like, 100,000 views or likes. It's like, dude, it means nothing. Like to them, it's like, that's crazy. That's like, that's insane for me, like, like to think that. But for us to get 50 is awesome, So support your independent artists, any artist, man, like painters and musicians and authors and whatever. Like every little click means the world. So please do that. But for us, yeah, you go to HEMImusic.com. All the links are there. Follow us on everything, man. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's all at HEMI Music. So check
Yeah,
it out.
yeah, we'll link it as well. And of course, this will be on my Spotify as well. So
Please, yeah. You have a great following. I'll take it.
take it.
Like
It's
yeah.
it's all right. I've got I'm very blessed and fortunate to have the people that support me that do.
Yeah, no, it is. It's awesome. Like if you are independent, I'm serious, guys. Like every little bit goes. I mean, it means like I get a new follower. I'm like, oh, cool, thank you. I'm appreciative of that. It means the world to get those. Uh, People buy a T-shirt. You're like, fuck, man. Like they're buying my shirt. They could have bought any shirt, right? They could have
Yeah,
bought any CD, but they bought mine. It's cool.
exactly.
I felt that from day one till now. It's like they could have done it for anybody. They spend their $20 on us. It's cool as shit. You can't replace that. That goes a long way. That keeps us going. That's why we're at 20 years of this. So uh I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all like the impact and connecting with the wrestling. The impact community has been amazing to us.
Yeah,
They were
they've
awesome.
been really good to me as well.
I can't wait to another song over to him. I'd like to get another song over to him. I'm grateful. Kevin Sullivan, who's now at AEW, he made that happen for us. And then Eric Tompkins, kind of facilitated it further. But like he made it happen. Like Kevin started that train for us, and I'll never forget that. Like he did so much for us. And I remember when I was at Skyway, he came up to me because AEW is like they're literally upstairs from like
Mhm.
Impact. And like he came up and he like said hello. And I was like, dude, oh my God, like thank you. I give him a big hug. And I was like, dude, thank you. It might not again, it's not $1 million, but it might as well be $1 million because to an independent artist, that means the world, man. So thank you for that. To everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone. Once again, thank you, Trent, for being here. Thank you for doing this,
Yeah. Thank you for
in the
having me.
time. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone, give Hemi a follow. Listen to him on Spotify. I say Spotify because like that's the most common thing, we use
Just seriously,
anywhere, really.
it helped. Honestly, just go to Spotify, all caps, HEMI. You'll see it. See us in the little icon. Play one song. Play any song. I don't care. See what you think. Uh, but for I mean, the Avalon album's the latest one, but check it out. We have a Motorhead tribute on there that Motorhead endorsed, which I'm very proud of. So,
I love Motorhead. You and
Motor,
I, we had a discussion about the whiskey.
yeah, we did. We did for sure. I love Motorhead. They personally messaged us to tell us they were proud of us about that cover. So there was no better validation than that. So
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Much love to Lemmy, may he rest in peace.
Lemmy, Phil, Mickey, all those guys. Much appreciated.